Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore. Welcome to our mindfulness practice. Today's topic is called Love the Work. Love the Work, in this case, is particularly related to the meditation practice and mindfulness. However, I want to also remind us that it's not limited to that. So, love the work kind of on a broader sense. So, as I was researching this topic a little bit today, just kind of looking at the different facets of what the love the work can mean. And I'm, there, kind of reflect back on my tea teacher, right? So, one of the things that I do as a hobby is I do a Taiwanese tea ceremony. And this was something, and I think that was really interesting. Is the old tea masters were really considered kind of along the same lines as a skilled warrior. I mean, to make tea and to put your whole heart and your full energy into making it, and to being there with the ceremony, and doing all of the actions in the correct way, and having and practice, right, having done it 1,000 times and really being fully committed to it. It really changes the kind of quality of work that is produced. And not only does it change the work, but it also changes the you that engages with the work. It's really different to I'm sure you can see the different results in what you do when you have your whole heart fully committed to what you do, versus when you're only half into it or going through the motions. What's the difference between those two things? So really pouring ourselves into our work not only makes it more enjoyable, but also helps to develop the skill in that work when we're uh, really fully engaged in it. And I think as I'm looking into it this morning, remembering about non-duality, that I think a lot of us, perhaps especially in the Western world, we see work and relaxation as two separate things, that I'm either working or I'm relaxing, that there isn't any relaxation in work. And I think that this kind of dualistic approach isn't the right approach to examine what is work. And just to kind of reflect back on most of my meditation retreats, I'd say the one exception is the SN Goenka retreat, which is where you're really sitting and meditating the whole time. But the other Vipassana style retreats, there's always an aspect of working meditation involved, or chores, or something that we have to do, and as retreat participants, to contribute to the environment, to take care of the place that we're in. And also, I think one of the um, intended side effects of that is to see that even though we're in silence, we're not speaking to one another, we're still communicating with each other through that working meditation, that the work that I do affects everyone else. And it becomes quite apparent as this kind of as the meditation retreat goes on. And as we recognize the work that each other do, it's motivating. It makes us want to do the work better. And I think I mentioned on my last meditation retreat, I was the cleaner of the male toilets, which I suppose I signed up for it on purpose, because I know that I can do a good job at cleaning the toilets, and I know that not a lot of people like doing it. And I don't particularly enjoy cleaning toilets, but I knew that this is something that I could put my whole heart into, and that I could contribute and make a difference in the retreat, instead of perhaps doing something that is a bit more pleasant. So I think it's important as well to recognize that is the space around you, the people that are around you, where you can make the biggest contribution, and of course, understanding what's pleasant versus unpleasant for you. And sometimes the way to make the biggest contribution is to do something that is a bit less pleasant. And to see, though, right? Like, I guess one of the benefits is to be able to see the impact that you have, and I guess, being the father of 3 children, I know that sometimes the action that I put in doesn't immediately show me the benefit that creates, and I think it's important to understand and to be patient with delayed gratification, that sometimes you won't see the results of the work you put in for years. And you know what? I think of famous artists who passed away before their art became famous. Sometimes that amazing positive impact you see, it may not even happen within your lifetime, but the fact of the matter is that you are making a difference. So that's kind of the beginning of Love the Work, just about work itself, when we kind of things that we consider work, and I wanted to talk about work as far as meditation and mindfulness. So without me going on about it, I'm just checking out the chat here. Some people talking about some tea ceremonies, which is really great. I would say I do love tea ceremony, in that it really is something that you can, me as the server as well, and you as the participant can be fully engaged in and fully immersed in and completely mindful while doing and being completely present. It's really a wonderful, wonderful practice. On meditation, I'm just going to read from, again, one of my mentors, Mark Lesser. And what I wanted to do for you guys today as well is, Mark is an Insight Timer teacher. So I wanted also just to link to Mark's Insight Timer page. I haven't listened to any of his guided meditations, but I've seen. I've participated with guided meditations with Mark in person, so that's it's pretty good. So regarding the work, Love the Work is the practice of engaging with and loving the work of mindfulness in a way of seeing with greater clarity and letting go of a more limited worldview. A core practice is exploring greater self-awareness that paradoxically is a path of going beyond our senses of self. It means actively questioning what is, with open-minded curiosity. How to practice Love the Work? 1. Love the work of the meditation practice, cultivating awareness and presence. 2. Love the work of mindfulness practice, being more aware, clear, curious, and generous in all aspects of your life. 3. Love the work of showing up decisively, vulnerably, and authentically. 4. Love the work of helping others. 5. Love the work of feeling and exploring what is difficult, challenging, and painful, as well as cultivating a mindset of wonder. So I'll just paste these into the chat. Lesser, Lesser. Oh, it's way too long for me to post into chat. See if I'll try and post them one at a time. But I'll keep reading before I do. Loving the work is knowing there are many realities, many ways of being beyond what we usually experience, and to not be overly attached to our version of reality. We aspire to identify and transform our unspoken fears, blind spots, biases, and assumptions. The practice of loving the work requires courage. The courage to feel uncomfortable and exposed and take action in the midst of these feelings. So some additional practices: train yourself to reduce scanning for threats. Learn to transform fears into possibilities. Practice being more satisfied with what you have and who you are. Befriend your inner critic. Feel your connection to the human tribe and to all of life. So just quickly, let's go ahead and start getting into our meditation posture, and I'll paste these into the chat while you're preparing yourself. So I would encourage you to find a posture that combines relaxation and alertness. So sitting up straight and tall, preferably moving your back away from the backrest of your chair if that's possible for you, as this can help aid in alertness. So feeling into the body, noticing if there's any tension in the body. So settling as best you can. Finding a posture that you can sustain for the next 10 or 15 minutes. See if you can let go of your desire to move and to simply remain still. And see if you can connect with your intention with this practice. Why are you here today? What do you hope to gain from your meditation practice? And maybe connecting that gain, or that potential gain, with the work you're doing now. Recognize that greater awareness is cultivated through this practice, that it is a natural result of resting in being mode. Again, noticing resting and working are not opposite things, especially in our meditation practice. We work and we rest simultaneously. That's this posture, and the posture itself reflects that, this relaxing yet alert posture. A body resting in stillness, yet fully awake, fully alive, fully engaged with the present moment. Can you keep your attention on your body? Keep your attention on this physical sensation of breathing. So if you've scanned through the body, you've found tension, you've examined it, you've observed it, can you feel the body breathing? This is dynamic. At no two moments is the body identical. As we breathe in, the body is gently, constantly expanding. As we breathe out, the body is gently, constantly contracting. Inhaling, taking in air, exhaling, releasing air. Can you hold your focus on that sensation of breath? I know it can be tempting to follow thoughts. Is it possible to keep the attention here? To love this time as well. Recognize that we may, from time to time, have moments of self-judgment. Is it possible to come at this with a bit of ease, relaxing and working simultaneously? Oops, my mind wandered. Okay, no worries. Gently bring the mind back. Gently begin again. Be present. Follow the sensation of breath. Keep it up, you're doing great. Only a few more minutes to go. Stay focused as best you can. Remember your intent. Know that there are benefits to staying focused on the body and being present. We can get back to other things at another time. For right now, staying present by feeling that present moment sensation that only exists in the present, a communication of the body as to what's happening right now. And what is constantly in flux for all of us is our breath. Can we curiously, interestingly, focus all of our attention on the expanding and contracting of the body with the breath? And now the time has come for us to begin drawing our practice to its close. But today I'm not going to close practice with a ring of a bell. Instead, let's just focus as best we can on the next 3 breaths. Focus all of our attention, no matter how the practice has been going. And whenever you're finished, letting your eyes open again if they were closed, moving your body in any way that you like, maybe stretching out. So thank you. Thanks for spending this time with me today. It's making time for yourself to practice mindfulness. How'd it go today? Feel free to write in the chat. Have a look at the chat comments here shortly. In the meantime, it's something I just kind of wanted to bring up in this idea of work and relaxation being two separate things. Also, just to think about self-care. And I think self-care it's just kind of come up for me recently in the last few days. And I've done a kind of a talk about self-care is not selfish. And I think that it's important to know that, right, again, to tie that in with relaxation and work not being two separate things. Self-care is not something that is self-indulgent, because if you're doing things and calling it self-care and it being self-indulgent, it's in fact actually creating unhealthy patterns that will be even harder to break. And I think that's kind of the key here, right? Just for example, depression tends to be a condition that causes people to self-isolate and to be inactive, and I think that it's important to understand that this actually feeds the cycle of depression and causes depression to get more intense, and this is the case for a lot of different conditions, that doing the harder thing, the thing that you don't necessarily want to do, like maybe going outside and going for a jog or whatever it happens to be in the time, that often this is really what self-care looks like. And so is it possible to do that and to love the work while you're doing it? And I think something that I had mentioned as well is, like, you can see when you begin doing your exercise routine, for example. The beginning's tough, but as time goes on, as the minutes tick by, you can see that, okay, I start to feel a bit better. So a lot of times it's that first moment that is difficult. So just kind of wanted to tie in this idea of loving the work with self-care as well. All right, thanks everybody for your feedback. Blossom Violet says deep meditation. Natalie Garr says very calm now. Jean says I was a bit distracted at the beginning of practice, just had come from therapy. Once I let go of that, I was able to focus better. Well, congratulations on being able to let go of that. I think I remember times when I had a counselor, I was in therapy for something, and it was like, I think maybe I just needed a different therapist. But I would hang on. It would be, hours before I was able to kind of let go of what was going on. So good on you for being able to let go. Thanks, Jean, for sharing. Sybil says, enjoying work really helps me to keep on task. Time passes quickly too. And Jean says, isolation from staying inside to stay safe in the frigid weather can lead to depression. Well, and the other things, the weather itself can lead to depression. I guess maybe that's it too. The consequence of the weather, always having to stay inside, maybe less sunshine as well. All of this stuff has some physiological effect on us human beings. So, seeing the sun. And I remember I used to live in Western China, and in the city I lived in, the city was called Chongqing, and at Chongqing the winter time was like, I think 3 sunny days for the entire winter, and it was just rain constantly, and it was cold. It was like close to 0 degrees Celsius, which is 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and I can feel how that affects my mood. So be aware of those things and take action. know what you need to do to keep your mood well as best as you can. Some of the changes in mood are inevitable. So, all right. That's it. Grab my nearby meditation cat, who's hungry, ready for food. Oh, he's always looking. Why does he always look grumpy? Shouldn't you could you have a smile? Could you smile once in a while? He's like, I am smiling. This is my smiling. Let's close practice as we do with some well wishes. And again, that's one other quick thing I wanted to add in, is that you'll see that the well wishes are part of doing the work. Feel your connection to the human tribe and to all of life. So that's something that we can see. It's part of Love the Work. So follow along with me if you like. You can repeat after me if that's comfortable for you. May I be happy and peaceful. May everyone here today, watching, listening, wherever you are, I wish you all happiness and peace. May all sentient life here on planet Earth and throughout the universe, may we all be happy and peaceful. All right, thanks everybody. Take care. Have a lovely day or evening. Next week we'll start with some of the basics of secular mindfulness as we begin to move through that avenue, including some of the stuff that I think is anticipated about mindfulness-based stress reduction. So look forward to doing that. If you enjoyed today's session, follow me on Insight Timer. See you next time. Bye-bye.